That'd be a good idea.
We're on in 3 minutes.
Technically 4, because at 3 there's a news break thing.
Those look epic, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Semi like the coolest.
Jim sent me one and I was like, that's good.
It's like the coolest campaign flyer ever.
Yeah, it's very like recognizable. Like the rest of them I've seen are very like,
They're just boring.
yeah.
They're boring as shit.
You're alive. What did you say people on Facebook can see, by the way?
Oh, and here.
Yeah.
And here. So I should watch my language.
No. There's like 2 people that watch Facebook.
When did we go live?
2 minutes ago? 1 minute ago?
Ready to make your space truly yours.
Oh, you managed to bring it through the other side? Where are you running it from?
Colorado's #1 source for Hunter Douglas blinds, shades, and shutters. We're also offering 40% off on select brands like Kate, Oriental Weaver, and Classic Home. Plus, our 0% interest financing options make it easier to achieve your
How much time we got?
Contact the design expert today for a free consultation and guidance.
It's a little over a minute.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Oh,
3:30, right? Is that what you said? Yeah.
That's right. Text the word home to 94870 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with equity.
When do you leave to?
Find us at AM
hopefully before.
Okay, let's talk right after so we can talk about the event.
Ooh, those are nice.
Okay, 1 minute. Always love that music.
Hey, Jim. Your phone number, your email, sign at the bottom of the page.
Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps, welfare benefits, assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted by this cost.
Several state attorneys general of Facility Control Administration over this. New York's Attorney General Division King announcing the lawsuit at a virtual press conference. Joined by the California, Illinois, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and Rhode Island.
There is no question. This policy is reckless,
Listen about the disclaimer they put on my show notes.
unconstitutional.
The Supreme Court in the
They put a disclaimer on your show?
Oh yeah, they know like any. Not only like we may not be Salem's position, it's like is not.
Did you go crazy or something?
Listen.
Yeah.
Means I'm doing something right.
Does mine have a disclaimer like that too?
I don't think so. Welcome to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer, and today is Government and Politics Tuesday. And there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing going on in politics, government, nothing. We're just, you know what, we're going home. There's no news. I couldn't find any, no, obviously joking. The entire world shifted a week ago when President Trump was sworn in. And this is having so many implications across our country, our local region, our world. And so we're going to be talking about that somewhat. And the reason I say somewhat is here on the Peak, And thank you for listening, by the way. And it's exciting now that we're into our second year, learning more and more that people listen to the show. You know, a lot of times, years and years ago, many years ago, in the early stages of podcasting, there was Blog Talk Radio. Do you remember that thing that was out there called Blog Talk? We were doing this. This must have been, I don't know, 2008, 9, something like that. And you knew how many people were listening, right? Because you know they would tell you how many people were on, and we were in the middle of doing something or doing. And I have my friend who I was doing the broadcast with. I was actually in Israel. He was back in the States, and we were in. And I looked down, and like we had 1 or 2 people, and they were gone. Like there was nobody listening, but I was able to like text him, and on the thing, and I said, nobody's listening. Keep going. I remember writing him that, and he remembers to this day, because that's what you have to do in order to build up anything in media. Like, nobody's listening, keep going, because eventually the people show up if you keep going. And so that's what we've been doing here. So I've been excited to hear more and more people telling me that they listen to the show. Even yesterday, I was in D11, really exciting stuff going on that our media education that we're putting together, curriculum is going to be in D11, that somebody, like a 16-year-old girl told me she listens to I get out of school at 3 o'clock and I listen, and I'm like, wow, that's not the demographic for talk radio, conservative. So we're making a difference, and we thank you for that. I really, really appreciate that. But what has made us, when I went off on this tangent 2 minutes ago, what I was about to say is, we don't want to do too much national. And when we do national, we always bring it back here because everybody's doing national. But who is covering Colorado Springs? Well, very little. And that's what we're here to do. So mostly what we're going to be doing today is talking about the city council elections that are coming up, because as of a few days ago, they sealed off. You can't get on the ballot anymore. That was finalized, so we know who's running. Very short election cycle for this, but we need to know, and it's every district has candidates to vote for. Supposedly nonpartisan, but wink, wink, nod, nod. We know what that is. People hiding, but it basically is. You see who the candidates are. And so on today's program, we're going to be reviewing that quite a bit, and I have with me as my guest and co-host Jason Lupo of Full Armor Sports, who is a good friend of mine and a sponsor of the Peak, and also, I'll put this out there, a campaign manager. So the difference between us, it's not that we don't bring friends on. I mean, I know so many people in town. Everybody's a friend, pretty much, or a friend to be that I bring on. And it's not that people don't have predispositions or they don't have agendas or whatever. It's just we let you know what they are. Like, to try to say, oh, we're news and we have yeah, everybody has an agenda. But if you know what it is, then that's normal human interaction. This is this person. This is what they represent. Okay, I'm going to filter everything that they say. Like, that's normal. Why do we not think about that in the media? Anyway, I digress again. But Jason always helps me out because he's sort of a political animal here. He's run for office himself. So on things like this, we bring him in. But we're also having Jim Miller. We can announce this, right? Jim Miller, just a guy, is running for city council. Like, he ran for mayor. Now he's running for city council. He may have to change his shtick. But we're going to, because, hey, Jim's a regular here on the show. Jason, it turns out, is his campaign manager. And so we're going to have Jim Miller on later to talk about why he's running and what's going on. But otherwise, we'll be talking about the big issues to think about as we go into the city council elections, and also who's running in these different districts. So I'm excited because city council elections is when I launched Church Voter Guides, so many years ago, 4 years ago. It was our first election 4 years ago, and so we're going to be back at that. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit too, because now 4 years down the line, we'd love your help, because this is another, just like the Peak News is citizen journalist, so is Church Voter Guides. I'm Chaim Goldman. You're listening to The Peak, and we're talking about city council elections and other governmental stuff on this Tuesday. Glad you're here. We'll be right back.
I hope this mic is on.
What? I don't know.
This mic, I don't think, was on prior to that.
Well, he may have thought it was it. Which mic we doing?
It's good now. I thought he was still on that mic,
Okay.
but so both of those mics work. Because I thought Jason was going to be in that
I don't
one.
pop too often.
Yeah, but it's still, I like it. The only problem I have is Jim always making lewd remarks about it. Jim. We're gonna have him come in at the second floor.
I got you.
Okay, taste of the peak. Okay, 3 minutes.
If you want Rick Gillett,
By the way,
Almost.
we're just know we're on Facebook Live the whole time.
I could probably get him if
Okay.
you want another candidate.
Okay. I'm gonna have to decide how to deal with all this, you know, with the candidates, because I guess it's within each district. If I bring someone on in a district, then
You could
potentially,
just go off the.
just bring in the campaign managers.
There's like 3 of us in town.
Are you working for others? You doing others?
I've done parts of others, but not fully managed. But there's one guy that's got like almost all the liberal ones. There's like 2 of us that got conservatives.
Is there gonna be splitting the vote? And
Then there's a lot of city council candidates that don't have managers.
they should get my how to run for office. Okay.
I love those donuts. Have you had one of the Dad's donuts?
No, I really
Oh my
want
gosh.
I really want Mitch to bring some over here.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah.
They have a coconut cream one, which is my favorite.
So what was the thing that they did? It was like 50. They busted like these because it's not even in here. There was like 50 at an illegal club that they busted. I thought that's. Oh, here we go. No,
They got like 50,
I think it was like 50, right?
but only 4 of them were members of the gang.
Okay. I thought that was in this. How in the world can they not have that information in here? We're back on that. They talk about the net. Oh, here we go. Makeshift. Not here it is. Okay. And we used to have a thing with like pens and highlighters and stuff. Okay, so there's that. Okay, we're back in. Okay, we're back. We're back in like 20, 30 seconds. Federal grants. And then the last one, or we want to go into the immigration and then the grants, because that'll flow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer. And I'm here with Jason Lupo, and we're going to be talking, well, we have headlines now, and then we're going to be going into a lot of city council election information because the election is on April 1st, I believe, but with 3 weeks of early voting, I think the ballots are mailing out tomorrow. No, it's like Jason's saying this is the shortest election cycle. March 7th. The ballots will go out. So you got about like 6 weeks until the ballots go. So something like that. So I want to say real quick, first of all, Taste of the Peak. So we've been talking about this event. It's coming up on Thursday. I want you people, if you're thinking about going, first of all, go. Be there. It's going to be awesome at the Pinery. But there's something about like people don't commit to stuff. So like I know a lot of people are coming, but we're still waiting on people to buy tickets. And it's such a hassle when you're an event organizer. So just make up your damn mind and buy the tickets. Really, you don't know what it's like. Oh, just come at the door. Yeah, you know what the check-in process when you're trying to run an event, we're trying to collect money at the door. Like, don't do that. Like, make a decision. It's like 48 hours from now. Anyway, sorry, that's a little angry. That's the no sleep, event organizer. One of my hats.
It's post-COVID syndrome, because during COVID, like, you didn't know whether or not events were going to go through.
Yeah.
And so people just waited till the last
I don't
minute,
think
and then we never got past that
You
point.
can blame COVID, but it's lack of commitment, America. I'm gonna wait and see if I get a better offer, America. That's what it's about. People do this for weddings. I mean, I RSVP'd for your wedding the day before. Look at that.
Heim showed up. I'm just saying.
But I
he
did show up.
He did show up.
On Shabbat too. I usually don't go anywhere. So anyway, back to this. Taste of the Peak. We launched a nonprofit in order to train up people in journalistic ethics, media vocational training, and plug them into an internship or citizen journalist here. And it's going really gangbusters on the youth side. We'll talk about it much more later, but things are going on within D11, other school systems. We're going to be raising up a whole new generation of real journalists, young people, to help out with the show and break into media. It's really exciting. And we're doing a sort of a carnival and a fundraiser and a networking and a thing. I don't do anything simple. So it's called Taste of the Peak, where it's food, that's the taste, and you also get a taste of the peak. I like these double and triple entendre kind of things. But it's this Thursday, January 30th at the Pinery, 5 to 8 p.m. plus. We have Jason Jorgensen, D11 City Councilman, Heidi Ganal, who ran for governor, but Rocky Mountain Voice, great organization she has now, putting it out there. Chris Gould, who's our general manager here at Salem and a senior VP for Salem. Jeff Crank is coming in by video. We have other surprises. I'll be emceeing. And the first part is food tastings of local vendors and activities. We're having photo booths and like face painting and stuff, and silent auction, and then this great program where we'll be talking about setting really a vision for this golden age in the Pikes Peak region, especially in media, and what we're doing. And so great mixing, great networking. Come on down, Taste of the Peak, but get your tickets, and please do it today. It's only $20. If we even have tickets left, it's $25 at the door, but just get them online. Go to thepeak.news, that's our website, /events. Thepeak.news/events. Again, it's this Thursday, January 30th, all the information there on the website, including more silent auction items. We're looking for people to donate silent auction items. I know Jason's put a package together from Full Armor Sports teams, and we'll take what you want to. We'll auction it off. It goes to the 501c3. You get a tax letter for it, and you're helping us train up the youth. So all good. Okay, moving on now because I burned a lot of the headline segment. Let's talk about gangs. So supposedly back about 4 or 5 months ago, we found out, maybe it was more, Jordan Baldwin, who was our investigative reporter here, started finding out about these gangs going on up in Aurora. He actually went into the buildings. He kept telling me, he's like, I don't know how I'm getting out of there with my life. Like, there's crazy stuff going on. And he was talking with certain city council people up there that would talk about it. But for the most part, it wasn't happening, right? It's not happening. The gangs aren't here. They're not taking over buildings. And yet, now, with President Trump coming in and turning ICE on, they just went and busted like a club, an illegal club up there with drugs and guns and stuff, and took in like 50 people and this Trend, how do you pronounce this? Trend Arguaya, I guess it is, which is this, is Hispanic, I don't know, where are they out of? Venezuela, right? Venezuelan gangs. So yeah, it's a serious problem up there. No one would talk about it before. And we're going to tie that in right now to the fact that Denver, which has always been a sanctuary city, supposedly, according to Governor Polis now, is not a sanctuary city, and yet they're still not cooperating with ICE, and that's the whole problem. So Jason, what's your take on this, and how do we keep this out of Colorado Springs?
But there's two pieces of it, right? The Denver mayor and Denver City is a little bit different, but in terms of Polis, when Polis comes out and says that we are not a sanctuary state, he may think that he means that, but he also knows that in his back pocket
He's
are
running
laws.
for president, and he's running for president.
Well, he's running for president, but there are laws that they passed in the last couple sessions that prohibit state officials and state agencies from working directly with ICE unless there is a specific warrant for a specific criminal. And so it does not allow the state or state officials or state agencies to just blanket work with ICE, which is the problem. And so if Polis really wants to not be a sanctuary state, they have to remove the laws that they passed in the previous couple sessions that would then allow them to blanket work with ICE in deporting these illegal immigrants. And it's something that I think that Polis is probably willing to do. I don't know as though the radical House and Senate that we have in the state are willing to do it. And so it might take a lot of heavy-handedness from Polis in trying to direct the House. And I don't know as though it's going to happen. So this is definitely a very interesting time in our country, especially with what Trump is trying to do, and kind of the federal government forcing the hands of some of these states. I think we're going to see a lot of court cases come out of this, of whether or not it's legal or not. So it's interesting.
And just to know about our state, and I've asked this, is the move, the shift of the country going to make Colorado shift more toward sort of the conservative side, or are we going to, more double down and sort of try to be the representative of this progressivism, liberalism, and these policies that have, just most of America is rejecting? And the bottom, it's the latter. And so we're seeing, like today, that they were up there taking testimony on a gun ban, anything semi-automatic, which would basically ban pretty much everything. And so that's going on, and of course fighting against immigration policy, even though we've seen how it's destroyed Denver, and we need to take it. It's not that we don't care about people. It's you have to have priorities. Like I love Jason, but I'm going to take care of my children before him, and he would expect me to, right? So there's levels. So we have to take care of our own citizens before we can help the rest of the world. And in fact, if you know this about anything, like even running a business or whatever, if you don't run your business well because you're giving all your stuff away, pretty soon you're no good for anybody. You don't serve your customers and you have no money to give to charity. So we need to put our oxygen mask on first. Okay, Jason, we got like a minute left to talk about this pausing federal grants, Trump pausing federal grants. How might this impact us here in the state?
This is absolutely epic. If you were to take away the reckless grant spending in almost every state and how they allocate funds to certain organizations, which this is like legal money laundering for those that want to pass money along to their friends in government. You could eliminate like income tax from almost every state just by eliminating half these grants. And it's pretty astronomical how much money goes into these organizations. But this is going to allow the Trump administration to put everything on hold and actually evaluate whether it's necessary for this money to be spent where it's being spent. Period. End of story. That's the story.
Do we know like how it may immediately impact? Because what is it? 3 months they're putting this on?
The suspension goes into effect January 28th at 5 p.m. Agencies have until February 10th to submit detailed information on any programs, and then after that, I don't know when the money is going to then become back available.
Did you say February? When, February or January?
Agencies have to submit by February 10th to get their money back.
Okay. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to The Peak on AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer, it's Government and Politics Tuesday, and we're focusing in on our region, specifically on the upcoming Colorado Springs City Council elections. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the current City Council. We'll be right back. Okay. Cool. Good stuff.
Drill, baby drill.
Love it.
Minutes, 8 minutes.
Okay, so, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 issues in about 4 minutes. So it's going to have to be sort of just mentioning them and giving a, why is this important? And sort of what to be looking for in a, in your opinion, in a city council member, like what their position.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the end. That's the end. Get to know our city council members. So Helms, Iverson. So Iverson, she's at large. So it's Dave,
Why-
Michelle Tirico,
I think we just go in.
Avila.
I think we just go into the issues.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna mention that 3 of the incumbents, have decided to not run, who are eligible to run or not running.
If I directly knew the answer to that question.
Well, no, I do.
Okay.
Well, it's Randy Helms, Tirico, and Michael Malley.
Is Yolanda running again?
She must be, because I didn't hear. I mean, let's go to our. Let's go to
Alright,
our.
so District 1 is Dave Donaldson. We already know he's running. District 2 is Randy Helms. Is he on the list?
Let's see, 4. Yeah, no, 4 candidates are running. Oh, term limited. Avila is term limited. So that's why. So really, Dave.
But Randy Helms is not running?
Randy Helms dropped out. So really, Dave is the only incumbent.
Talarico's term limited?
No, she
She's
actually.
not running.
She decided to not run, and she actually came in on the heels of, what's the one who won, and then she died of cancer.
I don't know. Henjum's running.
Right.
Remember that.
Okay, so Henjum and Donaldson are the incumbents, I guess. Avila is term limited, and the other 3 dropped.
Michael Malley is not running.
No.
Okay. Well, there we have it.
And, Mike is on the conservative side, and oh, so I can use the live stream to check my hair,
Sure.
which is really important.
Everybody, I'm pretty sure.
Radio,
everybody
it's
wants
really
to see it.
important that your hair is nice on the radio. Okay, we're back. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening on Government and Politics Tuesday. I am here with Jason Lupo of Full Armor Sports Teams, and one of my guest hosts on the show. He's guest hosted a couple of times, good friend of mine. And Jason's somewhat of a political animal. He's run for office himself. He's been a campaign manager for a lot of different people locally, always on the hyper-local level. And we're talking about the city council elections. They're also Full Armor Sports is and thank you for that. Just gave me a check today. Thank you for being a sponsor of the show. Well, our sponsors keep things going. And with that said, I'll say Pickle Prosthodontics that you just heard the ad for, but I'll do a shout out too. Don't let multiple decayed, missing, or worn teeth interfere with your enjoyment of life. See Dr. Todd Pickle from Pickle Prosthodontics, your board-certified dental implant specialist in Southern Colorado. They're one of our gold sponsors here, Pickle Prosthodontics. I love them so much, I learned how to say prosthodontics. It's not the easiest word. Okay, existing city council. So what are we looking at? This is, so you know, every 2 years we have a city council election. We have 6 districts. They run once every 4 years. We have 3 at-large candidates. They run every 4 years, and that's how it works, and we end up with 9 city council people. In this election, this is the District 1, so we have 6 different elections. You will vote only for your district, not like at-large, where it's all over the place. But what was really interesting is in this election, Nancy Henjum and Dave Donaldson, incumbents, current members, are running again. But Avila is term limited. And then what was surprising is Randy Helms, Michelle Tirico, and Michael Malley, who have only been in for 1 term, Michelle even less than 1 term, have decided to not run again. So that means there are 4 non-incumbent seats, but all 6 seats are open. So Jason, full disclosure, is Jim Miller, who's going to be on in the next segment, just a guy, Jim, the Peak Rants. He is running in District 5. Jason is his campaign manager, but Jason knows about being a journalist. We're being neutral here on this show. Let's go through. I'm going to do like speed round for a couple minutes of the big issues City Council is currently dealing with. Rec marijuana. What's the issue?
Well, the problem is that we had 2 conflicting ballot measures that confused the nonsense out of every single voter. People didn't know what they were voting on. They were poorly written. Dave Donaldson is hoping to put that back on the ballot to now, I guess, repeal the acceptance.
But people
of
are saying,
marijuana.
hey, we voted, let the voters, have their way.
I think it's false. At the end of the day, like, these ballot measures have to be clearly written, and they weren't, and they should not have been allowed on the ballot.
And the fact that there were competing measures was also confusing. Okay, emergency services.
Right now, everybody knows that our response time needs work. Our fire response is a very scary thought that we don't have some coordinated response throughout the El Paso County region if another fire like Black Forest or Walder were to break out. And looking at California, I mean, this is something that is a top priority. If you have a family here in the Springs, you're going like, okay, what are we doing to make sure that people can get out of this city if a fire were to break out like in California?
Okay, potential mayoral scandal. We know this whole thing with Mayor Yemi being accused of possibly lying to the feds. It's laying a little low. We're the only ones really reporting on it, and we're building information here. But potentially, if there is a recall or he has to step down, the head of the city council becomes the mayor until we can run another election.
Yeah, and this also comes back to the fact that we need people in city council that are going to hold the mayor responsible, and we don't presently have that.
Yeah, where are they? Dave Donaldson brought it up at the beginning, but are we even hearing about it? No.
No, it's fallen to the wayside, and also the potential dark money that enters the city council race and is spreading around. That's another problem, right? Accountability is huge in city council.
Okay, Colorado Springs Utilities, the board, our city council is the board of Colorado Springs Utilities. We're in this new maybe golden age with Trump saying drill baby drill. That's a big deal, billions of dollars in all of our utility bills.
We must account for a couple things. The first thing is why people's cost of utilities has skyrocketed over the last 5 years. It's a huge issue when it comes to affordability for Colorado Springs
For
families.
everybody.
And the second part of it is we have outages left and right. We don't have a very secure, consistent power, water. Like, we need to make sure that this city is protected if natural disasters were to occur, and we're not.
Okay, 20 seconds, annexations.
Oh, this one's huge. I can't even begin to answer it in 20 seconds, but the annexations is going to be a large conversation in the next 2 or 3 years of whether or not the city should annex additional land.
Okay, these are all issues for you to consider as we're heading into the city council elections here in Colorado. If you live in the city, I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. We'll be back with just a guy, Jim Miller, who's running for city council. Okay, bring him in, we got 2 minutes. Jim, Jim, go here. You move over.
You want me to move?
Yeah, because that's the prime seat. Just make sure you're not blocking him. Pull your mic out enough to not block him.
You don't actually want me in on this interview.
Oh,
You don't want me to play a
that's
part
true.
in this interview.
Hey, why don't you just step out?
I'll just step out. And I'm assuming that either you or him will announce this.
Yeah. Here, give me that.
You can, you're a good speaker.
I am stepping out
he's
for your
stepping
interview
out.
because of my conflicts.
Yes.
I understand.
So, go rock it.
We'll see what happens.
Okay. So, Jim, remember, this is wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if I give you like 1 or 2 for time budget.
Gotcha.
Good. So we got 12 minutes, 4 questions.
I didn't even read the questions. I felt like it was cheating.
No, I always go over the questions.
I
with
know, but it
everybody.
feels like cheating.
Okay.
Not in a bad way.
It's called being prepared.
I know, but let's keep it organic, and it seems better not to have the questions
Okay, that's
ahead
up to
of
you.
time
Man.
because it's natural that way.
Okay.
I think during the
I'm gonna treat you with the same policy we treat every.
yelling and screaming and throwing rocks. Understood.
Actually, you know what? Since he's not gonna be here when it comes time to promote, you should do it.
You sure you got a really good speaking voice for that? I think.
No, I know, but I'm not your promoter.
It's called a launch party.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure you're on the camera there. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer. And I'm going to hit this hard for the next day or two, which is Taste of the Peak. It's our event for our 501c3, our educational foundation, to help local youth break into media, teach them ethics, show them how to do the tools of media, including the equipment, and plug them into an internship here. And that's happening this Thursday, January 30th, 5 to 8 p.m. plus, at the Pinery at the Hill downtown. And go to thepeak.news/events. We got great speakers. It's going to be great food and activities and networking and fun, and a great program, and silent auctions and raising money for our foundation. We're actually doing, when I say the term ethical journalism, they sort of laugh. They go, "Is that a thing?" I go, "Well, it's supposed to be a thing. We've forgotten about it, and so now, we've really, at some point you can't fix stuff. You got to, it's burning itself to the ground. The media is burning itself to the ground. But what are we going to build up out of the ashes? It's not like we're going to move forward without, needing truth tellers and information sources. Like, we've been sitting around campfires doing that since the beginning of humankind. So we need a new system, and we're here at the Peak trying to build that up. And so please join us. Go to get your tickets, just $20. Get your tickets, make a commitment. It's 48 hours from now. Make a darn commitment. Get your tickets. Come down, hang with us, including Jim Miller, just a guy, who's going to be down there at the event, as well as all the Peaksters around here, our staff, if we can call them that. It's we're all volunteers, and interns and others, and people, people who have been guests, people who've helped us out. So it's going to be a real party celebration. We just had our 1 year anniversary a couple weeks ago, but this is where we can, we put the money together to really help the youth. So come to that. So we've been talking about the city council election, and we figure if we're going to bring on a candidate, we better bring on the one who's been showing up every day for us for the past year, who's Jim Miller. And if you don't know Jim, well, he ran for mayor. You may need to start changing up your rant. Say, I'm running for city council, although that may be too much advertising that we're giving you.
Right.
We'll have to see. We'll see this time. You won't say I lost like you did for mayor. We'll see in a couple of months what's going on. But
April 1st.
But we wanted to bring Jim on as the first candidate that we bring on, since he's part of the show, just to Jason Lupo, who has been hosting the rest of the show and has guest hosted here before. He is Jim's campaign manager, so he stepped out for this interview. Again, I think you'll see that we're different. It's not like we don't bring our friends on the air. It's not like we don't talk about stuff that we're interested in. It's not like that we don't even endorse things that we're into. It's that we tell you these things. This is Jim. He's my friend. He's running for city council. I'm going to interview him now. And then you can make of that as you will. We're not hiding anything. And that's that's really what media needs to be. It's all we're neutral, and meanwhile the backroom deals are going on. No. You can actually go on our Facebook and you can see what we're talking about at the break. So Jim Miller, thanks a lot for being here.
Thank
today.
you, hon. Yep.
So give us some about your background, so people can meet you a little bit more than just the quick thing that you say during the rant. And why did you decide, after running for mayor and losing, you came in last out of 12? But this is a very different kind of race. It's much more localized.
Yes.
So who are you, and why are you running for city council of Colorado Springs?
Well, I am a Marine. I'm a veteran. I'm a father. I am an uncle. I'm a husband. I do own a small, vending and tire business. Nothing crazy, nothing special. I just like everybody else that works every day. I want to eat. There's not a lot about me. I only got into politics because, to be very frank, and it's not the best of topics or the most soft of topics, but
we say the quiet stuff out
but
loud
it is
here.
what it is. Next to me, next to my house, and I live next to a church, there was 4 convicted felon pedophiles that moved in next to my house. It seemed like they didn't get much of a punishment, and we live right next to a church. For further context, that's disgusting and terrible enough, but my daughter's a survivor of this stuff, and it kind of had an impact on her, where she grew up at after she was coming around and getting a little more normal, if you will. But nobody cared. Nobody wanted to listen. Still nobody's cared, and nobody really wants to listen. I get the response of, "We'll look into it. I'll look into it. Let me see." I mentioned it during the mayor stuff. I mentioned it before that. I've mentioned it since, and I've mentioned it now, and I just seem to get a lot of the same response of, "Let me look into this. Let me see." So I'm like, I'm going to take another swing at this because wrong is wrong and right is right. And like most of us out there, I just want things better. I really want things better. We live in a different era. It's not the way it should be. We got people scared to do the right thing. We got people worried about doing the right thing and worried they're going to get in trouble or something. And it shouldn't be that way.
Now you're running against the incumbent, Nancy Hendrum. Officially, this is nonpartisan, as they say, but people basically know if you were going to put a D or an R on things, we know where people stand. This whole nonpartisan thing, I think, was brought in for the minority party to want to hide in a conservative area.
Right.
Like this, but she won, and Nancy Hendrum is our current city council person, so you're running against an incumbent. What are the big issues that you see, or the ones that are in the purview of the city council of Colorado Springs, that you think the council needs to focus on?
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on with the city council. First, I don't think there's any representation for the everyday people there. I don't see it. I don't think I'm represented. I think public safety is always a big thing with what's going on. A lot of taxes, a lot of this, a lot of that. There's just, everything costs so much and nobody seems to care with any of it. They tell us what to do with all of our own private property. Private property rights is a thing. The public safety aspect and the part of just good people doing the right thing and people are scared to be punished. I don't think that needs to be a thing. I think the city should stand behind good people, whether you're law enforcement or just somebody going to work. I think that needs to change. I think we need more regular people that are just from the community that care sitting in city council too. So I think that's kind of a broad stroke of things. I mean, we only got a few minutes and all, but that's more what I'm kind of looking at with it. We need more just people from the community doing this stuff. We don't need people looking for political authority. Politics shouldn't be a career. Should be a burden like jury duty. This is going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of
$500 a month, man. You take that.
It is what it is. I mean, you look at it when you got people like me that work every day and all the time. The economy's good. We get paid for about 10% of our work.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of stuff because it needs to be done. The economy's bad. We get paid for about 1% of our work because there's a lot of stuff that just has to be done. It's the right thing to do. Just go do it and do the work.
So this is a situation much different than the mayor. Obviously, the city council is supposed to, keep the mayor somewhat accountable, at least pay attention. But here's a body of 9 people that you have to work with. Coalition, get at least 5 people to vote. How will you work to solve these issues? What's your approach toward, because this is different than being the mayor that you ran for last time.
Well, anybody can work with anybody. That is what it is. And if I got to work with 8 other people, whether I agree or not, even people I don't like or don't agree with, a broken clock is still right twice a day, right? So I can even give credit when I don't like someone or their political views or the way they are about something, and even I can give credit and work with something that's going in the right direction. So that's pretty simple and pretty easy as a whole. It's pretty practical, actually.
So what issues that they're dealing with right now would you feel need to be focused on out of the things that city council's working on?
The public safety stuff is a big deal. I mean, there's so much thievery and robbing and people's cars getting stolen.
There were 3 people just shot. They found 3 bodies down south of Memorial Park the other day. It's like not even a news item.
It's become the standard now in this city. This isn't what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a lot safer. And I think part of it, everybody always goes, we need just more police. I don't think that's the answer. I think we need more effective police focusing on real problems, real issues, real things, real crimes. Look, I'm the kind of guy, I don't care if your registration is expired. You deal with the DMV on that. That's for you to deal with the DMV. They need to deal with some real crime and some real focus on some real serious stuff because none of us should be worrying about if our kids, our wives, our mother-in-laws, our sisters are walking around in the neighborhood or going to the mall or a store and something bad could happen. We don't need to be having that as a thought process where we live.
I know something you've brought up on the show before is, the fact that the meetings happen when people are working. Do you think that you might be able to get the council to meet at another time, or at least some of the time?
I'm an extreme advocate when we hear from these city council members, especially like the incumbents, where they go, oh, you can talk anytime you want on a Tuesday at 10:30, 11:30. We're all working and maybe having lunchtime and enough time barely to eat if we do get lunch. Yes, I think city council should have public meetings on the weekend, and I'm a big advocate for that, to make it open for everybody in the public, not just the same few people or the same few groups every time. I think it doesn't give equal or proper representation for our whole community.
So I know that this happened really quick. It was just last week you were getting signatures and you're there. Have you worked out platforms yet?
We're still working some details. Yes, I did.
So
It's
what-
not an unknown fact. I did. I picked up the packet and I turned it in the day that it was due.
Well, you actually decided over
As-
the weekend when it was Martin Luther King Day, so you couldn't even pick up the packet on Monday.
No, got it on Tuesday, the due date. Picked it up, got everything signed, ready, turned in. I mean, if anything, that should be very symbolic of I'm probably a
Get
force
stuff
to be reckoned with on getting work done and just doing it. If something needs to be done, it got done.
But what are some of the, just a quick, about a minute, the platforms?
We're still working
Okay,
on a
so
few
that-
things, so we're
okay.
getting there with all of it. We have our launch party
Yeah,
and
so
stuff
talk,
coming
so
on.
talk about that.
So we got a launch party. It's going to be at Granite Transformations. Thank you.
Another sponsor of
Big
Tom
thank
Hamner.
you to Tom. Tom's awesome. I really like Tom.
If you've
Great
heard
guy.
Tom here, he's the J6 guy that was 2 years in jail for J6. Now is pardoned.
Yes.
He owns Granite Transformations. He's held networking events for us down there, and now
Good
here.
friend, phenomenal human being.
Yeah.
So that's at 5243 Galley Road in the Springs right here.
And when is it?
It's going to be Monday, February 3rd at 6 p.m.
So Granite Transformation, 6 p.m. Is that this Monday? This coming Monday?
Yes, that is. That is this next coming Monday, isn't it?
And this is your official launch.
Yes, it's the official launch party.
Okay, so make sure to get down there. Jim Miller, just a guy. Thanks so much
No, thank you, hon.
for being on here. I'd really appreciate working with you the past year and look forward to your campaign, because when I saw you during the mayoral, it was hilarious. And I'm sure if you want to go to these things, Jim will be the comic foil.
I don't know about all that. I'll be serious, but when there's a time to laugh,
No,
you'll
there
know.
is. Hey, you know what? We need to laugh sometimes. Thanks a lot, Jim. Jim Miller, running for District 5 City Council. Hi, I'm Goldman the Watchman. We'll be right back with Jason Lupo. Cool.
So now
Thanks,
we
Jim.
need to swap out with him, right?
Yeah, swap
Again?
out with him.
Nice.
That's how it works.
On it, on it, on it.
Thank you.
Do you want to rent?
Yeah, we need a rent. Did we
Okay.
not pick one up?
I did not.
Oh.
Because I got the real article right here, so I assume.
Right, no, because anyway, we need it more controlled. So can you get me something in 2 minutes?
Yeah, good.
Government and Politics Day. So this one, we got about 5 minutes. We're gonna be, so you got your copy of,
And after this, you don't need me, right?
yeah, well,
After you don't need
yeah,
me
as soon
for
as we go to the
segment
rant, yeah, I don't need you to close the show or
Okay.
anything like that.
six. Yeah, I need to get off the track.
Okay,
As
so,
soon as segment 5's overall.
okay, so yeah, I'm gonna give, so in 5 minutes, we need to do candidates running, give a little election info, and plug church voter guides.
You have all that
5
stuff in
minutes.
front of you.
Yeah, so, but you have a copy of this. Don't you? No?
You do not give me a copy of that.
Oh, okay.
How much time do we have?
I'm not gonna go make a copy of it. We still have like a minute.
You announce this. Yes. Send it to you.
Yeah, I did.
Sorry,
I
man.
promised there's something I gotta promote that Fight Club.
John 3:16 or John.
Yeah.
John-
I promised I would do that. And I
John
lost
something
space.
Fight Club?
I didn't make it into the script.
Everything froze.
The rant's 3 minutes.
250.
250. I couldn't cut it down.
Okay, so we have less time. Okay, we're gonna have to be out by 4:30. Oh, we're back. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer on Government and Politics Tuesday. And we're doing sort of a speed round talking about the city council election. It is coming up. April 1st is election day. But because we have 3 weeks of early voting, the ballots are going to get sent out on like March 7th. You'll probably have them on the 8th or the 9th. So that's only 5-6 weeks from now. Very short cycle. We have 6 districts. You will vote only in your district if you live in the Springs. I don't even live in the Springs, so I'm not even voting in this. But we will be putting out a church voter guide for it, because this is our, really, we've cycled back. We had city council election 4 years ago for the districts was when we launched church voter guides, and we'd love your participation this time around. It's always fun to put that together, especially with friends, really journalistic thing. So Jason Lupo is back here. He is acting as our political pundit here, but he is also Jim Miller. He just listened to his campaign manager. But let's look, we have 20 candidates, so you can't apply anymore. We have 20 candidates. They needed to get 50 signatures, I guess 50 valid signatures to get on.
50 valid signatures from their district.
From their district, okay. So let's see, District 1, Councilmember Dave Donaldson, he's the incumbent. And will be seeking re-election over retired Air Force veteran Lee Lemkel? Do you know Lee?
I don't know Lee.
Okay.
I know that there's Dave has made a name for himself. He called out some of the dark money flowing in and accused his fellow city council members of basically taking bribes from developers. Got him in a little bit of hot water. But anyways, that's the story behind Dave in this last go around.
Yeah, Dave's been on the show, and Dave's a fighter, and so
yeah, 100%.
You know, District 2, Frank Christinger, a nurse and Air Force veteran, and thanks to the Gazette for this synopsis, will be running against Tom Bailey, the current chairman of the El Paso County Planning Commission.
I don't know a whole lot about either of these guys, but I have I do notice the name Frank. It's been mentioned to me. Very sound guy, believer, very conservative. I would really want to look into the chairman of the El Paso County Planning Commission and some of the decisions lately. So that would be something that you'd want to look into.
I'll have a voting record there. Okay, 3rd District, saying the most competitive race, covering downtown Colorado. Brandy Williams is running to return to city council after serving from 2011 to 2013, then working as a city engineer for Fountain. Maria Lauer, an organizer for Stop Cop City COS and a former intern for the council, has also filed.
There's 3 others. Rick Gillett
Right.
ran for a
Right.
seat
Sorry.
on Cheyenne Mountain School District.
There was a gap here.
Greg
Yes.
Thornton, a member of the Colorado Springs Parks Advisory Board, former judo competitor Christopher Metzger.
Okay.
This race is an absolute freaking disaster. I mean, this is a train wreck of a race. In terms of you have some people that, if you can't even determine whether or not you're going to try to appear conservative or liberal, I have an issue with you. But there's a couple like really solid liberals in here. And then you have Brandy Williams, and then Rick Gillett, who's really an independent, who probably looks like the best choice for this seat.
Okay, I'm going to say, because unfortunately we only have a minute left in this segment, that we're going to have to continue this at another time. But you can find out about these people, and we will be launching church voter guides. To get more voter information about everything, go to coloradosprings.gov/voter info. And I just wanted to take a little time to talk about church voter guides here, because this is where we're going to send out surveys to all of the candidates, open-ended questions, and they get to answer them. And then it's a journalistic exercise. We publish what they put in there. You read it, you read between the lines. But go to churchvoterguides.org and sign up to help us, because you can help us put the guide together. And this is an awesome thing that we can do on the local level. Jason Lupo, thanks so much for being on the Peak.
Hey, thank you for having me.
And now Jim Miller, well, he's back doing a rant. Jim Miller, just a guy in the Peak rants. Thank you.
Train wreck of a race that District 3 is. Promise you that. All right, adios. Keys and sunglasses. Need these.
I've said it once, I've said it 1 trillion times, right? Working now for the money's like, it's like going to Chuck E.
sure somewhere down the line, some of these nonprofits and charities, there's a few of them that do right, do good, need the grants that are set forth. Because grants are just tax money. It's just putting it like a grantor account, sent out, given away. We didn't get a choice on that. It's our tax money. That's our earnings filtered through the system. We don't get any say on it. And you just go, oh yeah, no, it needs to go to this, needs to go to that. It's irritating. It's annoying. Electric car stuff, right? All those tax rebates and all this nonsense with that kind of stuff. Yeah, we didn't get a say on that. They just decided with our tax money, they're going to force a product, and if the product gets purchased, there's a tax credit or a rebate or a discount, or all of us overworked, overtaxed people, our money will pay for it. We'll pay for it. We'll pick up the tab because you bent a knee and followed the whole direction of the system. You listened on TV and you went and bought something, and then everybody else got to chip in and throw in on it. I don't like any of that. I think there shouldn't be any grants, any rebates, any incentives, anything that we fund partially without our say, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. We're already overtaxed enough. We're already overworked enough. We don't have time to say anything about this stuff. That's just a couple examples. We don't get any say in any of it. I know I'm fed up and sick. Remember, if you want it better, be better. I'm Jim Miller. I'm just a guy, and this is the Peak Rants on AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer. We'll be right back.
Alright, see you later. Let me know or else we might get pizza.
Thank you for joining me for another day of the Peak as we head into election season again. Election season never ends, folks. It's always around. You just weren't paying attention before. I want to let you know there's something called the John 17 Fight Club, which is very interesting. I think it happens every quarter now at Third Space Coffee, and it's happening tomorrow morning, 6:30 to 7:30. And what they do is they talk about issues that the church tackles, but from people with two different perspectives. And the topic tomorrow morning is on immigration. How should the church advocate for the treatment of immigrants inside the United States illegally? And so they have people with two different positions, and it's really a formal debate. It's very interesting. They pack it out. It's great networking and just really talking about subjects, not arguing necessarily theologically, but getting along with each other, going at things. And it's at Third Space Coffee tomorrow morning at 6:30 in the morning. So head out there, and I'll see you there. I'm planning to be there too. And as we've been talking about, and we'll continue for another day, 2 days before it happens, Taste of the Peak. Go to thepeak.news/events, check it out. Thursday night at the Pinery, come down. It's for our nonprofit foundation for raising up youth in professional media, and it's going to be a fun time of food and networking and experiences, and a formal program with great speakers, including Jason Jurgensen, school board member D11, Heidi Ganal from Rocky Mountain Voice, Chris Gould from Salem here. We got a video from Jeff Crank and me and others. So please get your tickets now. It's definitely going to sell out, but get them so we can move along. Go to thepeak.news/events, only $20. Well, we here at The Peak air Monday through Thursday, 3 to 4. Tomorrow's Faith and Family Wednesday, and we have Pastor Steve Holt, senior pastor of the Road Church, talking about Breakthrough Carriage, also the name of his new book. And then on Thursday, Education and Media Day, we're going to be down at the Pinery, coming live from the Pinery for Taste of the Peak. And so that's going to be one of those on-location shows. We haven't done that before, and it's exciting because I have to be down there then because the event starts at 5 o'clock. Now stay tuned for the Larry Elder Show coming up next here on The Answer. The Peak, we say the quiet stuff out loud, and we're saying it louder every day for such a time as this. Shalom.